All right, guys, this is the Way I See It podcast. I'm going to take a break from talking about government and free markets and FBI and all that kind of stuff.
Talk about some football.
We're going to talk about some football. And since we got the big bowl game of the Bulldogs from Georgia facing off against the Sooners from Oklahoma, and since we're a couple Georgia boys, even though we're not Bulldogs, we figured this would be the first game to really break down and talk about. So we're gonna do it a kind of a two-part series, maybe three parts, but definitely two parts. We're gonna first part we're gonna analyze Oklahoma. We're gonna actually watch them and kind of break down what they're doing offensively. We're gonna focus mostly offensively for Oklahoma, and then with Georgia we'll focus defensively and offensively. Um, it's going to be kind of hard to focus on Georgia's defense because they really hadn't seen what Oklahoma's going to do. Might watch a little Missouri, but right now we're going to focus on Oklahoma's
Yeah.
offense.
All right, let's go. This is who are they're playing.
They're playing TCU.
Is this the Big 12 championship or is this the regular season?
This is not the Big 12 championship, but this was a game earlier in the year. And one thing I didn't realize is that TCU was a top 10 defense.
TCU had a really good defense.
Well, that's really not surprising because of Gary Patterson. But our Oklahoma's coming out in four wide, and that was a pre-snap read by Baker Mayfield, where he was seeing he had single coverage, press coverage on the outside, and he was going to take a shot. So that's the goal of this stuff. It's kind of break down what's actually going on. That was not a hey, we're going deep. That was a we've got one receiver going deep into play. We're going to come out and check that at the beginning of the play. That's called a pre-snap read. And he got what he looked, and he took a shot, and his wide receiver almost made a play. All right, so coming out four wide again. TCU's running a kind of variant 3-4 type look, offset a little bit. They're sending the reason they send that back in motion early is because they're wanting to get an idea: is it man or is it zone? And nobody went with him, so he knew it was a zone concept. All right. Now, anytime you get zone, and you're gonna look for somebody to settle. You see the tight end right there, he settled in the zone. It was not he didn't break to keep running as fast as he could. It was more of finding grass and using his body kind of like a basketball player. All right. Okay, so now that's a run formation for Oklahoma. Anytime you see Oklahoma with two backs or a back and a wing, that is a run set. And it was short yardage, 3rd and 1, so that's what they tried. So Oklahoma right here is trying some type of. I think I know what they did. Let's see if I don't know if they'll show the replay again.
So what's been your overall thoughts of Baker Mayfield?
Man, I have not watched him that much until. Okay, that was just zone. That was just a complete inside zone play. I have not watched him a whole lot other than highlights until we got ready to do this podcast. I watched about a half of football, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I was blown away. He has tremendous footwork, big time arm. He kind of gets a bad rap, but I'm telling you right now,
I think he's the real deal. I like him.
He is good.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
He can make every throw. He's very athletic.
He's a really good athlete.
I tell you who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Tony Romo. That's the way he moves, and that's the way the way he throws the ball.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good comparison.
Very, very. A lot of people hate on Tony Romo, but man, he's a baller. He was an All Pro in the NFL. So I mean,
Romo was awesome.
If Baker Mayfield has Tony Romo's career, he'll be really happy with himself.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he wants to win a Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, it's just quarterback sneak to pick up a first down.
He looks kind of short to me though.
Yeah, he's not prototypical height, but neither is Russell Wilson.
No, I think he'll do good in the NFL. But he does look kind of short.
Well, how tall is Romo?
I don't know.
6'2".
Yeah, probably.
He can't be much over 6'2", and I wouldn't think that Mayfield's much under 6'2", maybe 6'1".
Yeah, you probably right.
All right, so come out to four wide. So it's been obvious that early they want to come out and go four wide. That right there, that's a play that I've run a lot, and it's a one man route. So it's a crosser, but everybody else is blocking. Now TCU handled it really good, and you would be shocked how many times you see teams run that play in a game. But it's an auto. There's only one guy that's going to be open, and everybody else is blocking, which technically is illegal, but nobody recalls it. All right, so they're bringing the wing in. So this would be uh, where it would, and he's checking pre-snap read. Now, see that right there is a run pass option. Okay, so you hear people talk about RPOs all the time. He brings the wing in, and it's going to be a run. Either they're not going to show the inside. It's probably zone, probably like a split zone, a run concept with a run pass option. And what he was looking for is that inside linebacker playing the run, not the guy covering the tight end. When the inside linebacker stepped up for the run, it created that hole for him to try to get the ball in there. This would be called a trio formation. It's trips away from a tight end. This is it's a run or a passing formation, so it's kind of tough. What you're seeing is Oklahoma is running a lot of man beaters right now. All right, they're and one thing that I noticed is Baker Mayfield is really good against man. You see blitz like that most of the time when it's a blitz, especially when it's more than one guy. It's going to be man coverage behind it.
Do you expect to see Georgia run much, man?
I do.
Really?
I do.
I was on somebody the other day and they asked about it. I doubt they try to run a whole lot of man on them.
Well, this is what they're going to try to do. I believe. I kind of think I believe it's actually kind of this simple. Um, I believe Georgia is going to try to hopefully get pressure on Mayfield with their defensive line. What now is it?
A second.
We'll start right there. If they can't get pressure on Oklahoma with their defensive line, they're going to have to bring pressure, and that's dangerous because when you blitz that man right there, bad things are going to happen. Let me back that up just a little bit. We'll go from wherever it's at right here. He is. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so we're coming out with a wing again. They're just bringing that jet motion that they brought. That's the guy they threw the ball to. That's just to try to get some confusion up front. Baker Mayfield he goes through his reads really quick. That's something else that I noticed, and he's not afraid to go to the outlet guy. You see people do this all the time. Are you Georgia fans? You've seen you watch the Auburn game, watch Georgia play Auburn twice. Auburn runs those jets all the time, even when they throw it, and they very rarely check it down to that guy. That's because it takes you got to be able to go through reads really quick to get it there. All right, so it's 3rd and 3. They're running trips to the right. Man beater. That's when they see blitz. He reads blitz. He's gonna hit the backside slant. So them inside guys, I didn't even see the inside guys go. I'm pretty certain they went based on where he went with the ball. Yeah, we should see here. See, there he comes. There comes the inside linebacker that opens up that zone. That's what he's looking for. When he sees that man coming, it's automatic. He's going to that backside slant.
These guys know how to move the football.
Oh yeah. So coming out trips again. So if you notice the first series, they were mostly double twins. This series, they've been mostly trips. Oh, that's a big time throw. All right, that was a very interesting play call right there. In football, coaches run a ton of what would be called high low. Steve Spurrier made high low concepts famous back in the 90s, torching the SEC with them. And all high-low means is you've got somebody shallow and somebody deep in the same view of the quarterback. It could be on the inside, it could be on the outside. So the most common high-low on the outside is what coaches would call smash, which you have a corner by the inside, and the outside guy would run either some type of hitch or sometimes they may run a whip route, but it's still a high-low concept. Well, what's interesting about how Oklahoma did that is they went trips to the right. They run the running back, they put the running back on the right, but they faked him left, and it was a rollout right. Normally, when you have a rollout to one side, you're going to have your running back lead that direction. What they did right here is they flashed the back away, but they took the third receiver on the right side, which was their tight end, and they used him to block back and seal the edge. And then they just had a high-low out there with Baker Mayfield, and he made a heck of a throw. It don't look like it's going to be a touchdown, but it still was a really, really good throw. But it's not Oklahoma's not reinventing the wheel with what they're doing offensively. They just got a trigger man that really knows what he's doing and has the ability to make the throws, to get the ball where it needs to go. But they are creative.
And they're playing a really good defense too. I mean, this is one of the best defenses in the country,
and one of the best, and facing
and
one of the better defensive coaches in the country.
right. And they're one of the best defenses in the country after going through the Big 12 gauntlet of offenses.
And guys, if you're watching this and it may be a little bit easier for you to rewind and look at what I'm talking about than it is for me to keep everything in the same pattern. So that play I just described, rewind and take a look at it. And I'm pretty sure you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, coming out again. All right, they've sent the back out, so now it's empty. They're trying to define coverage. All right, they're getting zone again, and the same as earlier. Last time when they run the back out, they came to that middle inside kind of curl. Exact same thing here. Anytime you have two high safeties, your weakness is normally going to be the middle to deep center of the field.
Just trying to create space.
That's what they're doing. They're trying to create space and find the hole in the zone
and make a like a linebacker commit to a guy like he had to right there with the hook.
Right. That's what they're trying to do. That's a counter. That's just the old counter tray in modern day football, bringing two guys around. They motioned across, got leverage, got an advantage on the outside, and just run a counter back to the left. Oklahoma is very good offensively. Statistics say one thing. All right, let's take a look right here. All right, that's the counter tray. That's the guard and the tackle coming across. They're depending on Baker Mayfield's athleticism to freeze that defensive end. And that's exactly what happened. The defensive end, and that's one thing, if the defensive end crashes, Mayfield may keep it, or they may just come back, the next play or a few plays down the line and try to exploit it. A really, really good drive by Baker Mayfield. All right, let's try to skip to the next time they get the ball. What down is it? Can you tell? Second and 7. We'll start right there. It don't have to be perfect.
They don't have many third downs at all.
Nope. All right, coming out again. They're in that trips kind of wing. So this is a run formation or a pass. Corner blitz, and he saw it immediately. A lot of times what coaches teach is you get a corner blitz, then tell that corner to that receiver out there to run a slant. This is much more effective way of handling it is sneaking the back out because the slant will be covered. The back probably won't be. And that's exactly what happened right there. But it's not easy to recognize that if you're the quarterback, to recognize it as quick as he did.
He thought off the bat.
Going empty again, trying to make they're not, you can tell by formation that's not man. So what he did right there is that was they were in a cover 4, and so then they just beat the flat defender. Well, when I say flat defender, I mean the guy that has got the lower part towards the outside. Everybody else is dropping deep. All right, they come right back to that counter. This time, the defensive end slash outside linebacker, whatever you want to call him, he wasn't. He was not faked out by Baker Mayfield. That's something to keep in your mind as we go further. Last time he froze, Oklahoma scored. This time he didn't freeze, and he made
That'll
the
be
tackle.
that'll be. Will that be Carter for Georgia?
It could be. It could definitely be him, and he's an exceptional player. I mean, he's a high draft pick, I'm sure. All right, Oklahoma's coming out going 4 wide again on double twins. Um, okay, slants and goes. There you go.
Ooh.
All right, what he's doing there is he's throwing the ball to a spot. You hear people say this a lot, and usually when you hear people say it, it's not true. But in the around the end zone, it is. You'll tell your quarterback, hey, throw the ball kind of towards the goalpost where your man's gonna have the chance. And the guy he's throwing it to is about 6'4". So he's gonna put it up where it's gonna be, he's gonna catch it, or one of them guys holding the little noisemakers back there is gonna catch it. It could not have been done better
No,
than that.
that was huge.
Georgia fans, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. Y'all got a really good team, but I know a lot of Bulldogs that think this thing's gonna be easy. I don't believe it's going to be easy. The only way this is going to be easy is if your 4 down linemen can just dominate the game. Or, Georgia doesn't necessarily have 4 down linemen, but if your interior guys, you're going to have at least 4 guys dedicated to rushing the passer every snap. If they can dominate the game, then you can have a good night. But if you've got to bring pressure, you're going to be in trouble. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to stop you, but
Yeah.
it's going to be hard to stop that guy right there. All right, let's see if we can scoot forward a little bit more.
Yeah, I hadn't watched. I've watched them play twice this year. I mean, but mainly highlights, but they look really good to me with what I've watched. Well, it's about the most I've watched them play. I've watched them play the Big 12 championship game, and Baker Mayfield was impressive. I've watched Baker Mayfield for the last couple of years. Go back now. My bad. I was talking.
No, that's all right. That's all right. That ain't. I mean, look, they run about 80 plays a game, so it's all right if you miss a few of them. That was trips again. It had a slant and go on the inside. I wasn't. And look, guys, that I'm seeing this stuff the same time you're seeing it, so I'm not going to see everything. I see it a lot because I've had to watch so much film as a coach over the years. This is more of a run type formation. And that right there is what will be called split zone, which is zone one way, kicking out the other with the back.
What was TCU in there?
I don't know. TCU runs a really multiple.
Well, they're constantly changing.
They're constantly changing. Sometimes they've got 2 down linemen. It looks to me to be a 3-4 hybrid is what I would call it. And they throw a lot of things at you, but they're committing a lot of guys to stopping the run. They're just doing it different ways.
Points allowed 13.
Which is pretty daggum good in that conference.
That's pretty good against, yeah.
Because those are guys that put it out. And I would think that Georgia would watch this a lot. All right, 2 backs again. So this is more of a run type formation. Baker Mayfield is counting. There's 7 guys in the box.
Ooh.
All right. They were running a zone read right there, and they got pressure back really quick. I would want to watch that again. I'm kind of surprised that he checked to that play with the number of guys that were in the box right there. And that was definitely a run play all the way. And maybe he was thinking about that he would be able to get out on the backside, but they were just kind of outnumbered right there. and he got banged up in the process. Was that is what Georgia needs to do to have a chance to win this game.
Exactly what Georgia needs to do.
Because if he's healthy, it's going to be a lot harder.
And that's kind of been what I've said.
You could, and right there, you could tell that leg was bothered. That ball did not have
Nope.
the zip on it that he's been having. It was kind of an ugly looking little hit that he took. All right, let's see if we can get to the next time they get the ball. All right. I know I'm really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see one of the best defenses in the country versus probably the best offense in the country.
And if I was going to rank the top 5 players, individual players in the country, Baker Mayfield's one, and so is Roquan Smith. Um, just electric
Yeah,
players on,
yeah,
on both
they're
sides.
two of the top five players in the country, in my opinion, on either side of the ball.
And now, one thing to keep in mind in this game is Oklahoma has the ability to score in bunches.
Quick.
Okay, now it's going to be important for Georgia to control the clock. That there's probably no more important stat besides turnovers in this game,
Georgia's built for that.
and they are built for it, than for Georgia to control the time of possession and keep Oklahoma off the field. And that way, you get a couple stops, you got something going. The problem with that is, and this is where Georgia's coaches, as a coach, you go into the game and you try to have a lot of plans, but you hope that you can control the clock and kind of stay where you want to be. But you also got to understand that you may find yourself down 17 points in the first half. It can happen because of the offense that you're facing. It's important if that happens for Georgia to not leave what they want to do. It's really important for Georgia to continue to pound the ball as long as possible, because if you get down and then you decide, hey, we're going to have to score with them, and you start throwing and you have a couple 3-and-outs, the game will be over with. I think that is going to be really important.
That's absolutely right. And they can stop them. You're there for your defense too.
All right, that's tight end, quick screen, and that's just counting numbers right there. They release the tight end on the outside linebacker immediately and just try to get 4 or 5 yards. In an offense like what Oklahoma's run, there's tons of plays that are safe, that are meant to, keep the chains in your favor, while also getting your athletes in space, and you never know what might can happen. So you're going to see Oklahoma take as many shots as possible that are easy and safe, and just roll the dice. And they think that sooner or later they're going to bust one. Oklahoma's going empty again. They love doing this because they want to go ahead and kind of make the defense declare what they're doing. That ball is in. You can't defend it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
And TCU did a good job of disguising what they were doing, but what they didn't disguise is what the coverage, the deep coverage was going to be. Great play by the corner for TCU right there, just beating the block. That's another one of them plays that's safe. They don't feel like there's any risk of a turnover. And, the chance that it's going to be big is not high, but it could be.
Georgia's got their hands full right here.
They do. But, hey,
we got a good defense.
It's also, we've talked about a couple things. One thing that we didn't discuss is Georgia is a great tackling football team,
yes, they are. They tackle well.
Led by Roquan Smith, who hadn't missed a tackle the entire season, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of.
He hadn't missed a tackle this season?
No, sir.
That's amazing.
I've never heard of anything like that. But a team like Oklahoma, if you miss tackles, they'll kill you. All right. Now he's wanting to go deep right there because got man coverage on the outside with two deep. Now look, nobody can cover that long, and that's one of the things that he's probably better. Well, what he just did right there is probably better at that than anybody in the country. He didn't panic. He kept his rhythm back there with his feet, scanning, 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 scanning. And even though he has the ability to run, he just hung, picks up 30 yards. He's a fun guy to watch play. I haven't, in the Southeast, and you don't watch Oklahoma a whole lot. So I really didn't know what I was going to be seeing when I started watching this, but this has really been interesting to see what he's made out of. This is definitely one of their run sets. All right, and he changed the depth of the back. Okay, now let me tell you why he changed the depth of the back right there. The back was deeper, which indicates he was going to be a play more like a power play or inside zone or a trap. He moved him up because it was going to be an off tackle play. So the reason you saw that back step forward is because he needed to change the trajectory of the mesh point. Okay, that's a little thing, but I guarantee you Georgia's seeing that. Okay, he took a step forward because it was going to be more of an outside play, like a counter or a stretch play.
Same thing here.
All right, he moved him up again. Now, this could be like I was just about to say, it could be for pass protection too. It could be for because you want him to pick up the edge. You don't want him to be behind the quarterback. So right then that's called a check down block for that back. He moved him up because now he's got a role in the passing game, and his role was to block the edge. So he's going to count for 2 seconds, and if nobody comes, then he's going to release into the flats for the pass. And that's another when you start watching Oklahoma, what you're seeing over and over again is that they get points easily. Then they get first downs easily by doing easy things. And Kirby Smart has been one of the better defensive coordinators in college football for 10 years. Um, you would think that
he's never had a linebacker like Roquan. Period. No, not missing a tackle.
No, that's crazy to
That
say.
is unbelievable. I can't get over that.
That's amazing if you think about it, considering he was at
Alabama.
But
Amazing.
Roquan may be the best linebacker he's coached. That is amazing.
And I'm thinking back of the games I watched Georgia, and I sure can't think of him missing any.
No, I'm a fan of the website Pro Football Focus, and they really break down.
What do they have Roquan?
I haven't looked at the projected draft. I just read an article on him where he hadn't missed a tackle this year. And and I've heard you say this before. He reminds you of Kuechly, from that was at Boston College, and that is a great comparison. All right, here, let's see what's going on. All right, TCU's about to punt this bad boy again. You do not want to be on the sideline getting ready to punt at Oklahoma. That's just dangerous. And I know, and Bulldogs, before y'all start cussing me out and sending me mean texts, we're gonna break down Georgia, and we're gonna be doing a lot of bragging on them too because they're a really good football team.
That's right. I mean, we enjoy watching the team play the game well, and that's what Oklahoma's doing.
Right.
Georgia does it too,
and they do it differently. They have a different style. So, but guys, now what I'm telling you is what we're seeing and what we're talking about. This is what is being talked about in the Georgia coaches meetings. I know what I know about that. It's not. I promise you, they're not looking at Oklahoma and saying, "Oh, them boys ain't played nobody good all year." Blah blah blah. No, sir. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying is Baker Mayfield is a bad boy, and if we don't get his behind on the ground, they're gonna put points on us. All right, so to come out 2 backs, another run type formation, deep back. So if it's a run play, It'll be power inside zone, and that's what you see right there is not